So for the 2 weeks ago, I was at the Rotary Convention that took place in Taipei, and this was my fourth consecutive annual convention. And so my gift to you, because I realize it's not feasible for everyone to get to wherever it is in the world that it's been held. 3 years ago, it was in Melbourne, Australia. 2 years ago, it was in Singapore. Last year, it was in Calgary, Canada. And this year, Taipei, Taiwan. So my gift to you is to bring you back the Reader's Digest version of the convention so you can feel like you've been there to the best of my ability. So I'm bringing that back to share with you today, and then also share part of the fun is when you do visit a country you've never been to before, is visiting part of that city and other parts of the country if possible. And Rotary does an excellent job of always partnering with a local travel and tourism company, and they only work with the best. And so even if you go solo on these conventions, you feel perfectly at home. Going on these tours, being there by yourself. The last 3 years, I was there with 14,000 to 15,000 of my favorite people. They were all Rotarians, like-minded people. And this time, we had over 38,000 people there. It was amazing. And part of that is that there are 37,000 Rotarians in Taiwan alone. Now, Taiwan's an island. There's 4 million people who live in Taipei and 23 million who live in the entire island. Top to bottom, I was told it takes 4.5 hours to drive top to bottom, north to south, an hour and a half by their high-speed rail. But yeah, 37,000 is a lot of Rotarians. So that's 70% of the people who were there were from Taiwan. So it was quite something. So I wanted to share with you what we did and some of the highlights of the speakers and the topics we discussed. So everywhere you go, when you land in a Rotary Convention city, the entire city's branded Rotary. And there are hundreds of little hospitality bees all over the place welcoming you. They welcome you at the airport. There are signs, there are people that are welcoming you to that city because it is Rotary City. And they plan these 7 years in advance. So it takes a lot of effort and organization, but thousands of people are involved and hundreds are these hospitality greeters throughout the airport, throughout all of the train stations. There's 3 different rail systems in Taiwan, and it was very well organized, always very professional. And everywhere you go in the city, it is branded Rotary. It is Rotary's Week. So it's pretty amazing, very special. When you go, they have what some industries would call a trade show, and Rotary calls it House of Friendship. And there were over 200 exhibitors, and Rotary Foundation has a booth, Rotary International, the magazine has a booth, the Rotary Action Groups many have a booth, the fellowships have a booth, and there are places where you can congregate to share ideas and brainstorm. So here's an example of the Polio Plus booth. And this is our dear friend, Sherry Sim, who most of you know. She's a past district governor of our sister district 5240 in California. And she and I palled around. We stayed at the same hotel, and we palled around, starting with breakfast every morning, and did a lot of things together, which was just fabulous. She was here for Remix and stayed with me. So we are members of, within our club, 5 Rotary Action Groups already. But I just joined a 6th one while I was in Taipei. So now I'm a member of the empowerment group for girls empowerment. I was already in the menstrual health and hygiene, and we're in water and sanitation, we're in peace, we're in several. So we just joined that day. Here's an example of one of the fellowships. There are 115 fellowships within Rotary. And these are special interest groups. So there's one for tennis, golf, paddleboarding, sailing, yachting, beer, wine, whiskey, sewing, crocheting, quilting, you name it. If you have an interest, there's probably a Rotary interest group. And that's really a fun way for people to get to know each other. Then they have these small group sessions in the House of Friendship where they're just 20-minute sessions on a topic that people might be interested in. So these are the smallest groups, 20 minutes each in these inside the House of Friendship. And you can come and go to as many of these as you like. And then there are small sessions, 60 to 90-minute sessions. And then there are the large general sessions where everyone's together in a large arena. There's always a peace park, and this was a tree where you could put your message for peace on and your hopes and dreams for peace on the tree. These again are some of our Rotary friends. So this is David Cash, district governor in the Tijuana area, and his wife Maria, and then Sherry. And David was here for Remex, and we had met when I went to President-elect training back in LA in February of 25. And he was so impressed when he was here for Remex and did all of our field trips to see our projects that he's the one who went back and told the La Mission Rotary Club that they needed to come and hear all about our Girls Empowerment Program. So a big part of why you go to these conventions is networking. We get to know each other, we share ideas, we gain new ideas, we come up with solutions, and we come up with partners for our projects and supporters, financial supporters from clubs and districts, especially from the US and Canada, to support our projects. So these are some of the folks from our district, 4140, and then Sherry from 5240. And these are friends. I met the wife, Mary, 3 years ago in Singapore, and then her husband the following year, Terry. And they came to San Miguel winter of last year, not this winter, but the winter before, and they're talking about coming back next year. So it's just really fun. It's like old home week when you're back at a convention and you get to see people who live somewhere in the world. And we represented 140 countries 2 weeks ago there with all 38,000 of us. These were some new friends from Mexico whom I had not met before, just from different districts. This was a group from the Philippines, and it's always neat to see because they'll have shirts that match or entire outfits that match. The groups from Africa always have matching outfits. And this group, it was amazing how many, they take a fabric and they make tops and dresses and pants and suits. And it's always amazing to see what they come up with. This group was from Nigeria, and they are very proud of their brother, Yinka Babalola, who will become Rotary International president as of tomorrow. And he's one of their own. So this is what the general sessions look like. This arena could hold about half of our 38,000. It could hold 20,000 people at a time. So this is an example of one of the large general sessions. Opening session, they split it into two, and they tell you whether you're in the morning or the afternoon, because they couldn't accommodate all 38,000 people in one arena. We were welcomed by the President of the Republic of Taiwan. That shows you how important Rotary is in the country of Taiwan. Then the flag ceremony is always very, very special. We do it on a district level, and they do it on an international level. And when your country's flag comes across, and they have people who march through, and there's music playing, and they carry those flags in proudly, waving across the stage, and everyone's cheering, and it's just a very, very special moment. I tried to capture all of the ones that represent all of our countries, but I think I missed Colombia. But otherwise, I think I've gathered all of the others. The smaller sessions, the breakout sessions that we have, are usually anywhere from 30 to 200 people in a breakout session. And there were 70 of them this time. So it's very professional. It's on your phone app. Gone are the days of having a printed, agenda with all 70 breakout sessions and all the general sessions and so forth. Those days are gone, and much more environmentally friendly. So the breakout sessions, you choose what you want to go to. And sometimes, invariably, I would want to go to it that were happening concurrently. So what I'll do is I'll jump into one, I'll start taking some notes, I'll see if I'm learning anything new. If I'm not, then I jump into another one. And these sessions take place in two different venues usually, because typically an arena and a convention center are not side by side. So many of the topics that we discussed were membership growth, mentoring new and young leaders, accessibility of meetings, like having a hybrid meetings, and how to make meetings accessible to people who can't be there in person. So I was just very happy in a lot of these breakout sessions to find that the recommendations are things that we're already doing. So that was very rewarding to hear from others. So our current year president through today, Francesco Arezzo from Italy, he, as you'll recall, stepped in 2 weeks before this Rotary year began last year this time, because the gentleman who was president-elect was supposed to take that spot was ill with cancer, and he has since passed away, unfortunately. So Francesco stepped in, and they usually plan for 2 years. They know for 2 years they're going to be Rotary International president. He had 2 weeks. He jumped in with both feet, and he's not that much taller than I am. And he jumped in with both feet, and he was just amazing, had such an amazing positive attitude. He said his top priorities for the year were membership growth, peace, and continuing our efforts towards eradicating polio around the world. He said, Rotary is not separate from life. Rotary is life. And he shared a story when he visited the National Emergency Center of Pakistan, and he saw a board on the wall with names of 68 local community workers who had sacrificed their lives working to get their children in their communities vaccinated against polio, because there's still so much distrust, misinformation in Pakistan and Afghanistan that these local community workers are still being killed, and they're sacrificing their lives. So it really touched his heart. So he said, we have to keep at it. We're at 99% eradicating the world. We have to keep at it. Big part of his message was continuity of leadership. He said, I like the image of a relay race. He said, no runner owns the race. The most important moment is not the running, it is in the passing. He said, Rotary is a relay. We receive, we carry forward, we pass it on. The race is not successful unless the next runner is ready to take the baton. And he said, every generation of Rotarians must leave the organization stronger, kinder, and more hopeful for the generation that follows. So I know Jose is ready to step in and take that baton. The next key speaker that we had was John Hugo, and John is General Secretary and CEO of Rotary International, and he's from Ukraine. And his key messages, he included an analogy. He said in the 1980s, bubble tea was created, and it was brought to the United States, with the world saying, try this. We in the United States had no idea what bubble tea was. But little by little, poco a poco, we tried it, and it caught on, 1 cup at a time. And he encouraged us to share Rotary in the same way that people shared bubble tea back in the 1980s. He says, try this. He talked about how loneliness has become a world problem. And Japan has even designated loneliness as a public crisis in their country. He says, Rotarians stay because we find a shared purpose, a sense of belonging. It's not just about our projects, but it's about the friendships we develop inside of our projects. Holger Knack is the Rotary Foundation chairman and past president of Rotary International, and he's from Germany. He shared with us that the 8th Rotary Peace Center opened in India this year. The last one opened a year ago in Turkey. We have 6 programs of scale now, and programs of scale start at $2 million US. So they're the large ones. And the 2026 program of scale was developed to reduce waterborne diseases such as malaria in Haiti by 25%. $5.5 billion US have been invested over the past 100 years in all 7 areas of Rotary's focus. And since 1985, 20 million children have been spared paralysis from polio thanks to the vaccinations of polio, which is now, as we know, just 2 drops under the tongue. So it saved 20 million children from experiencing the disease of polio. He says our key focus areas with Polio Plus remain in Afghanistan and Pakistan because they were the last two countries to let us in to hire local community workers to go door to door. And in those two countries, we're not even in door to door mode in many neighborhoods because they're not letting us in. But little by little, they're making progress. In Africa, Nigeria is the problem area. There are more live cases of wild polio in Nigeria than any other place in Africa. And in 2025, 350 million children under the age of 5 were vaccinated against polio, thanks to Rotary. 45 million of those were in Pakistan, and 12 million of them were in Afghanistan. They talked about our peace centers, and there's a wonderful world map that shows where all of our peace centers are located. And we got to meet one of the former Peace Fellows. Natalie Emery was a Rotary Peace Fellow at Duke University. Starting at the age of 14, she volunteered at a Mother Teresa Center in Mozambique, Africa. She says, you don't need to do extraordinary things. You just need to show up to make a difference. She developed computer labs and training centers in Africa. Then she moved to South Sudan, which is the youngest country in the world. And if there were peace in South Sudan, it could grow enough food to feed its entire population and neighboring countries. But it can't, because unfortunately it's plagued with human rights challenges, war, and violence. Another amazing speaker from whom we heard was Malala Yousafzai. And Malala began advocating for girls and education at the age of 11 with her Rotarian father. So they began advocating when she was 11 for girls to stay in school, because in Afghanistan, girls over the age of 12 are prohibited from going to school. At age 17, she was attacked and shot by the Taliban in an effort to stop her advocacy for girls and education. She had to go through many months of surgeries and physical therapy and mental health therapy in the United Kingdom in order to recover fully. She was 17 years old at the time. Now she and her father are both Rotarians, and they've continued their advocacy for girls and education. And she's written 2 books. This is one of them, I Am Malala, and the other title is Finding My Way, and I personally look forward to reading both of them. Malala says, each and every act matters. Focus on girls in your community who are at risk of dropping out of school. And I find it rewarding to know we're already doing that through our Girls Empowerment Program. These are the current, so to the right is our current president through today. Then you've got Yinka in the middle, and then to his right, our left, is Larry Lunsford, he's the president nominee. He will, as of tomorrow, be the president-elect following Yinka. So Larry shared with us that his goal by 2030 is to have 1.25 million Rotarians and 125,000 Rotarectors around the world. So that's a 10% increase from where we are now, and that's his goal for 2030. He says every Rotarian must be intentional about telling our Rotary story, and I find it rewarding to know that we've been sharing our Rotary story every Tuesday as we share our Rotary moments. Then we have our dear Yinka, whom many of us got to meet in February when he came for REMAX, and he came to see our Girls Empowerment Program personally, and he was here with Lee and Carrie and Jose and many of our members of our team, and he got to see our program in action, and he was able to help us hand out the kits, the reusable menstrual hygiene kits, to the girls during their graduation. And it really touched his soul and his heart. And as you all know who were at Remix, he used 4 of his 20-minute closing remarks to talk about the Girls Empowerment Program being managed by the Rotary Club of San Miguel de Allende-Midday. He even got our name right. That's how much he focused on what we were doing. He was so impressed. And so he is quite the character. So Yinka Babalola is from Nigeria. He became a Rotaractor in 1983, and he graduated from a university in engineering in 1988. He became a Rotarian in 1993. He became club president of his Rotary Club in 2002. And as of tomorrow, he's the second only Rotary International president from Africa, and he's the first Rotary International president who has started his Rotary career in Rotaract. So that's very, very exciting. And so he's our president starting tomorrow. One of the fun things when you go to these conventions is you get to meet their family, either in person or on the stage. Every member of Yinka's family is either in Rotary or Rotaract. It's amazing. He says, this is my sister so-and-so. She's in this Rotary Club, and this is my sister, and she's in that Rotary Club. I was so wowed that he is so passionate about Rotary that he's got every member of his family's in Rotary. But it was just really quite something. So here is the baton being passed officially between me and Jose. Our theme this year has been Unite for Good, and that's our Rotary theme throughout the Rotary year. And then starting tomorrow, our theme becomes Create Lasting Impact. It's all about, as we've been talking about in this club for years, it's all about sustainability. And we've known that that's one of the criteria for applying for a Rotary Foundation grant. A global grant is it has to be sustainable. It has to keep going after our funds run out. It has to be designed that way. And so that's hence the creating lasting impact. So one of the fun, exciting parts about going to a convention, again, is going to a city and or country that you've never visited before. So I had a one-day tour the day I arrived, and I landed at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd signed up for a Rotary tour. It started at 10 a.m. So this is the Taipei 101. If you've not been to Taipei, it used to be the tallest building in the world, and this is the view from there. So you wouldn't want to tackle it if you have a fear of heights, but I found it to be beautiful. And I find architecture in other countries just so fascinating, especially compared to the architecture in the United States, which I think is pretty boring at times. But look at that building to the left. And that's a residential building. And it just looks like it's twisting. And it was amazing. There were several like that, but that's the one I could see from way up at the top of the Taipei 101. And then to the right is the dome, where that was the large arena where we held our large general sessions. And Taipei is known for its night markets. It has almost 40 night markets, and I didn't know what a night market was until I visited one, but they are food. And I am convinced that people in Taiwan do not cook because everyone eats out, there's food everywhere, and they close down the streets for these food vendors. And you just go vendor to vendor, and you read the signs because it may be a part of an animal that you may not be interested in eating. So I think I ate something with cheese in it, just to be on the safe side, but it was fascinating. It was truly fascinating. And then Taiwan is known for its temples that are just beautiful, and I just really find it interesting when you've got this temple beside a modern building. It's just very, very interesting. And this is one inside Taipei, and this is the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial, and that's Chiang Kai-shek's statue. And while I was there during this tour, trying to keep my eyes open, who did I come across but Yinka Babalola? He was getting a tour of Taipei. The gentleman in the lavender shirt is his assistant, and then the other gentleman is very high level, one of the district governors in Taiwan. And they were giving him a tour, so he has his headset on. And I went up and I reintroduced myself to him, and I said, you visited us in San Miguel for Remix in February, and you went out and visited our Girls Empowerment Program. And he says, I remember. And these Rotary International presidents, as you can imagine, meet thousands of people every month. But he had this glimmer in his eye. He says, I remember. So on either side of this memorial hall, one side is the concert hall, and we attended a Rotary concert of the National Symphony Orchestra one evening, and the other side is the opera hall. And then after the convention ended, I took a 2-day Rotary tour south, from the north part of the island to the south, and this is called Sun Moon Lake. It's the largest lake in all of Taiwan. And it was beautiful, although it rained, and we went on a bike ride in the rain. It is rainy season there, but beautiful temples everywhere we went. We did see a little bit of sunshine that very last day. So the whole time I was there, it was raining and cloudy except for the last day. But I was just thrilled to see some sunshine. But just gorgeous temples, just really beautiful examples of architecture and symbolism. And then, of course, around the world, there's a Starbucks on every corner, a Krispy Kreme on every corner, and a 7-Eleven on every corner of Taiwan. So that's what we have contributed to the world, is Krispy Kreme and McDonald's. I didn't take a picture of the McDonald's. I just couldn't do it. But yeah, there's Starbucks and 7-Elevens everywhere, and lots of Krispy Kremes. But they'd have different flavors than we're accustomed to. They're really big into matcha donuts. But I do hope that next year you will join me in Barcelona. So the convention, Jose's already putting money in his piggy bank to save up. But I would love to have you join me next year. Because it was a late change, they planned these 7 years out. Originally, next year was supposed to be Honolulu, but 2 years ago, they let Rotary International know that their convention center would be still under a renovation and it wouldn't be ready for 2027. Then they changed it to Dubai, but what's happening in the Middle East right now, Rotary International did not feel that Dubai was a safe destination, so it's going back to Barcelona. It was there 20 years ago and they did a fabulous job, so it's going to be back. So it was so much fun last year having Carla and Tom and Philip there with me. So I hope some of you can join me next year in Barcelona. Barcelona, that's right. So it has been an honor and a privilege to serve as your president this year. I want to thank all of our members for everything that you have done, for being here Tuesdays, for meetings, for being on Zoom, for those. Can we bring our Zoom folks back up? Please, Diego. Thank you to everyone. If you're not here in person, when you're here on Zoom, it means a lot to us. We really appreciate everyone who, when you're back in Canada or you're in the US or you're having a medical situation or whatever it is, we appreciate you being with us there via Zoom. That has meant a lot. All of the volunteer hours. You've attended 6 fellowship events. You attended our CPR AED training last Saturday. You've been there in force and support, and it's been truly an honor to work with you side by side. I'd like to acknowledge our board members. So when I call your name, if you'd please stand and stay standing. So on our board this year for 25-26, past President Lee Carter, Secretary Philip, and I see Mark is on the Zoom, but I don't see Philip. So if you can share our gratitude, Mark, with Philip. Treasurer Melody is here. Melody's in person. Vice President of Club Services, Robin. And Robin has had a whole team of people who have been writing articles this year and press releases and so forth. So thank you to her team, especially to Ron Lennox, who has been continuing to manage the website and the newsletter. So huge thank you to Ron. I don't see him on Zoom today, I don't believe, but oh, there he is. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, thank you. He's just been amazing this year, and everyone on Robin's team has been fantastic. Co-vice presidents of projects, Carla Cadena and Jill. So great job, Carla. Co-vice presidents of membership, Joyce and Kathy. Great. And sergeant of arms this year were Carla Espinoza and Elizabeth. And Tom Pinnenberg has been getting ready to serve on the board in this new year, so he's been helping the ladies out as well. So huge thank you. And then drum roll, President-elect Jose de Anda. So a huge thank you to all the board members, to all of you for your dedication, all of your hours and hard work this year. It's been greatly appreciated. And then a special thanks to our project team leaders. So when I call your name again, please stand. For the rain harvesting water cisterns, dry composting toilets, and beekeeping is Carla Cadena. Lee and Carla with the hospice, of course. Watershed Education Program, Evelyn. Girls Empowerment Program, led by our famous project manager, Jose, and our team leader, Carrie. And as we know, Carrie also doubles as our volunteer driver coordinator. So kudos to both of you. That is a project that takes every day, 5, 6, 7, 8 days a week. Pardon me? And Philip, yes. And Philip, so Lee, Carla, Philip, we have a 6-person team. And Philip has been managing the kits. So Mark, please thank Philip for us as well, for him taking over managing the kits and working on the sewing teams in Minnesota and starting one here as well. And thank you to Carla and to Lee for the support. Skills for Success, Ron Felton. And I know several of you, Beverly and Greg, and there are several who serve as English mentors and business skills mentors for our Skills for Success program. So kudos, thank you. And our ISMA, our School for the Deaf, Michael Murphy is our official team leader. And then, of course, Ron Felton is involved and on the board, and John Doherty is the master and president. So kudos to the entire ISMA team. LN4, Jose and Joe do that together, our prosthetic hand project. And then if you've ever driven for this past year, driven for our maestras for the Girls Empowerment Program, or you've been mentoring students at Skills for Success in English or as other business skills, stand up if you have volunteered for any of our 9 projects this year. Fantastic. Well, we couldn't do it without all of you. So a huge, huge thank you. Means a lot. I am very proud to pass the baton, in this case, the gavel, to Jose, our new president as of tomorrow. Jose has been involved in the leadership of Rotary for 11 years. For the first 8 years, he was a charter member and 3-term president of the Rotaract Club of San Miguel. And then he joined this Rotary Club in August of 22, the same time I did. Jose has very valuable connections within our municipality of San Miguel, with the Secretary of Education of the state of Guanajuato, with our District 4140. He and I have worked really hard this year to get to know more people within the district. So they will be our supporters for our district and global grants. He's a native. I say I'm a San Miguelense, but he's truly a San Miguelense, having been born and lived here his whole life. But he's so well connected. He worked for this city, for the municipality for many years, very, very well connected. And that's going to serve us well. He has proven for years his effective project management, his organizational and leadership skills. He does an incredible job every single day managing our very complex Girls Empowerment Program. We have been meeting over the past several months in our leadership transition planning. Jose and Joe has joined us a couple times, since Joe is going to follow him. And like Yinka Babalola, Jose will be our first Rotary president of this club who comes from Rotaract. And that's very, very exciting. So I am 100% confident that Jose is going to continue to lead this club in a positive direction as we continue to grow and we continue to implement new ways to effectively and efficiently operate our club and our projects, but always with a Rotary heart, a Rotary spirit, and Rotary values. So congratulations, Jose. We know we have an exciting year ahead. Felicidades.